shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Muhammad Nuruddin Lemu. I am Director for Research and Training at the Dawah Institute of Nigeria Islamic Education Trust. You're welcome to the series on self-improvement, self-development, and purification of the heart. Inshallah, in this episode, we shall be looking at the fifth impediment to our spiritual growth, our moral growth, and our growth as human beings and as Muslims in particular. In earlier episodes, we discussed one impediment to growth, which was heedlessness. Not knowing you have a problem, not caring to know whether you have a problem or not. Believing you are right when you are actually wrong. And we gave the story of the mosquito who flew around the room and came back to his parents who had told him not to go into the room. And he was, happy that people were clapping for him. And the parents told him, you're behaving like a cool fool. They were not clapping for you, they were trying to kill you. Sometimes we have things that are trying to kill us, undermine us spiritually, but we don't take cognizance of them. And unfortunately, this is one of the diseases of the heart that make people undermine their own potentials, their own growth. The second disease and problem and impediment to growth that we looked at was showcasing the gifts of Allah, showcasing your beauty, showcasing your brilliance, showcasing yourself as if you are better than others, and having that shaitan complex of ana khayrun minhu, I am better. And you want to behave like the mountain, you want to be seen, instead of behaving like the streams that flow gently in humility. The problem with trying to showcase yourself and trying to be like the mountain is that even rocks don't like to stay on the mountains, they roll away. But everything, rivers like to flow closer and closer towards the sea because the sea is ready to be more humble in spite of its power. The other disease of the heart we looked at was that of social comparison, of always comparing yourself with others, especially in issues to do with dunya, worldly affairs, gifts that Allah has given us. Instead of looking at what you have and being grateful, however much you are given, you tend to look the other way, see what others have, and then you underestimate, you underappreciate what you've been given. And we gave the story of the dog who had gotten a bone from his master, was on his way to go and chew and enjoy his bone. On the way, he looked into the stream, saw his reflection, but he thought he saw another dog with a bigger bone, and he jumped into the water and he lost his own. We lose our own happiness, we lose our own growth when we always keep comparing ourselves with our brother, our sister, our uncle, our neighbor, our this person's wife and that person's husband and this person's family and this person's salary and that person's knew this and mine knew that, etc. We undermine the happiness that's supposed to come from Allah's blessings by always asking ourselves, what did Allah give somebody else? And if Allah gave somebody else something more than mine, then I'm no more happy with my own. This is a problematic disease of the heart that brings a lot of ingratitude. And so you find somebody even getting depressed, can't sleep because of envy, when someone else is looking at them and saying, wow, you've been blessed. This person is not happy, has no alhamdulillah, no shukr, no gratitude to show Allah. The other disease we discussed was that of the crocodile. Always defensive, always aggressive. Can't have a weak spot. You can't tell them you are weak in this particular area. They get defensive, they get angry. They start attacking you. You are not perfect. No, we didn't say everybody was perfect. We're just saying you have a weakness in this area. They get defensive. And they defend their jahiliyyah system, their jahili mentality, their ignorant, unenlightened way of life. The moment you try to help them grow by pointing out, however gently, their weaknesses, they look at it as a reason to be aggressive, and they push good people who mean well, who want them to grow. They push such people away. The other impediment we will look at is that of the chameleon. When you see a chameleon likes to change its color to suit its environment. It likes to blend in. And this is a big problem some people have. They like to just seek acceptance. They like to be part of the group, seeking approval, whether Allah accepts it or not, whether it meets with Allah's approval or not. This quality of the chameleon, you could actually use another animal. Sometimes if you have a dog that is very loving, as soon as you come, the dog wants to everything. Lick you, jump on you. The dog always is seeking acceptance. Never angry with the master. Are you a criminal? Are you whatever? The dog will continue to follow. Are you an armed robber? The dog doesn't know, doesn't want to know. Just, you are my master. The problem with this quality of the chameleon is a form of hypocrisy, where what is inside is not what is outside. You find it as a form of minor shirk, and we will come back to this point later, where what Allah wants is not your priority. It's what others want. You become like a Khalifa, a vicegerent of Allah. On this journey back to Allah, we say to Allah we belong and to Allah we return. And so every other human being is a Khalifa, is a fellow traveler. But some travelers are not on their journey back to Allah. No, they have put other types of goals, not what Allah wants them to do. So even though whether you like it or not, we will all go back to Allah. The purpose, the Qibla we put, the direction we face with our purpose in life is very, we have very diverse directions. And unfortunately, some of us, instead of looking at the straight path, we just look at a traveler and follow the traveler wherever he goes. Whether off the path, onto a crooked path, we just follow others. Why? We don't want to fall out with people. We just want to seek acceptance. We blend into whatever it is they are doing. New fashion, we will blend in. New cultural practice, we will blend in. So long as we will get acceptance of others. This changes us from being servants of Allah to servants of any other master. This is a very dangerous disease of the heart. It's one where we follow people even if they are going to hell. We follow people where angels will not go. Something is not acceptable, not pleasing to Allah. So long as my friend goes, I follow. You become what some would just call follow, just a follower. This is a problem of very weak, little ego. If you recall, we said some time ago that some people are able to get their conscience to have a greater control over their egos. And where the ego is underbalanced, controlled, then you are confident. If you have too much ego, you become overconfident. If you have too little ego, you have no confidence, low self-esteem. And I'd like to demonstrate this using a metaphor of what some have described as the pendulum effect that some people have on other people. There was a well-known clockmaker. So he makes clocks. And he made this kind of old grandfather's clock with a pendulum that was hanging and swinging. He made a lot of clocks, he sold clocks, he kept clocks, he liked clocks. And in his room, he had about 14 different clocks on the wall. He just liked beautiful clocks. He had never stopped to notice the clocks. He would look at one, look at the other, but not to notice all of them. He fell sick and had to spend most of his time in bed. Before then, he would come back to bed, to sleep, go back to work, never stopping to notice a very strange phenomenon, which was when he had to now be bedridden and stay in bed when he was sick, he noticed that all the pendulums on the wall were swinging in synchrony, left, right, all together. There wasn't this one is going the other direction. No, they all seem to have established a rhythm. And he found that really amazing. He didn't deliberately do it. They seemed to all be moving in synchrony. He had enough energy to go and touch each of the pendulums so that they went out of synchrony. And each one was just moving on his own, in his own separate rhythm. He had scattered the rhythm. He left the room for a while to eat, get his food, all of that. Later in the day, he came to rest again. And he noticed that all the pendulums were back in synchrony. And he found that amazing. And he tried to understand what was going on. And people have tried to study this. What transpires is that the big pendulum, the biggest pendulum, sends vibrations through the wall, unnoticeable to us, but it affects the nearby clocks. And they gradually go in that rhythm and they influence others. And so eventually they are all moving in rhythm. And what people try to study is, does this just apply to clocks or does it go beyond clocks? And people notice that when you are walking with somebody and you've just started and you tell somebody, let's walk for another 50 meters, 100 meters, even though you started walking, somebody was left, right, another one was right, left, before long you're both walking in rhythm. But it didn't just stop with physically walking. When somebody started singing, and we are all singing the same tune, somebody who was singing out of synchrony gradually joins. They realize that even women, so this applies to even our hormonal system, who stay in the same hostel, stay in the same house, or live in the same family, tend to have their menstrual periods around the same time. There's a synchrony that's very quietly going on that most of us don't notice. You have to study it to know that somebody is influencing others in a disproportionate way compared to how they are being influenced by others. And inshallah, when we come back from the break, I'd like us to look at this pendulum effect. Who's the big pendulum in your life? Who's the pendulum that you are following their synchrony in and synchronizing your life to, other than Allah and other than people who are good for you in this world and in the hereafter? Inshallah, when we come back, we'll carry on. Assalamu alaikum.